A very good evening. We're coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst studios right here in Colombo with primetime news live on Newsfirst. A very good evening. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
Good evening. I'm Shine Jirampati. Let's start off with a look at your headlines tonight. 5 children have died in a month at the Karapitia hospital due to a virus. Bus associations agree to 12.5% fare increase. Scheduled strike action called off. North Korea cancels high-level talks with South Korea to protest ongoing military exercises involving the US.
And now for those stories in detail. The health officials say that the public should remain vigilant of a virus that is spreading in the southern province. The virus, which is common among children, has claimed the lives of 5 children in the past month.
The number of patients who arrive at the Karapitia Teaching Hospital in Galle with fever has rapidly increased in the past few days. The doctors say patients who are being admitted included children who are 2 and 3 years old, as well as infants who are less than 6 months old. High fever, cough and breathing difficulties have been identified as symptoms of the disease.
We have examined the matter with the other doctors in the hospital and we have identified the situation arose as a result of a virus that causes pneumonia. This is caused by the influenza and adenoviruses. This affects children who are less than 2 years old.
A 6-month-old infant died on the 10th after being admitted to the hospital. The infant was a resident of the Horagoda area in Matara Akurasa. The infant had been initially admitted to the Karapitia hospital on the 25th of last month and had been transferred to the Lady Ridgeway Hospital in Colombo.
The child was at the Lady Ridgeway Hospital ICU for 15 to 20 days. We couldn't save her. Everywhere we went, we were told that there was no medication.
The post-mortem examination revealed that the cause of death was pneumonia. Meanwhile, an infant who was 9 months old had passed away last Saturday. The infant was a resident of the Galboka area in Valigama. The child had been initially admitted to the Matara hospital and had been transferred to the Karapitia Teaching Hospital. Here too, the post-mortem examination revealed that the cause of death was pneumonia.
It is a virus. It is good if they at least try to save the other children. We believe that 4 to 5 people have died in the past month as a result of this disease. Several steps have been taken within the hospital. The visiting times have been reduced. We have limited children being brought to the hospital. We have initiated steps to wear face masks and gloves inside the wards. We can see there is a reduction.
The Health Services Office of the Southern Province announced that the staff at all divisions have been notified to identify the areas that have been affected by the disease. The Epidemiology Unit of the Ministry of Health has commenced a broad investigation into the deaths at the Karapitia Teaching Hospital. Director of the unit, Dr. Anil Disanaika, said officials of the Medical Health Institute as well as microbiologists of the Karapitia Hospital will be carrying out the examinations.
If there are symptoms of fever and diarrhea, do not send your child to school and make sure he or she recovers completely. It is extremely important to keep your children at home if the child is attending a daycare center or preschool with these symptoms. It is a virus. We cannot identify what it is at once. The specialist doctors have informed us steps that should be taken to prevent this. If there are symptoms, take the patients to a hospital immediately. Do not let children roam around in public places. When there is a new disease, it is difficult to diagnose it at once. When they held investigations, it was identified as a virus and not a bacteria. It is difficult to control the spread of a virus.
An agreement was reached between transport officials and bus association representatives to increase bus fares by 12.5%. According to the agreement, the minimum bus fare was increased to 12 rupees.
Bus associations opposed the approval to increase bus fares by 6.56% and warned of launching a strike action from midnight today. While one group called for a 10% increase, another called for a 15% price hike.
If a proper price formula was followed, the bus fare should technically be increased by 15%. Since diesel has been increased by 14 rupees, a 7% increase has to be made. We informed of a 10% increase in bus fares. We also raised the point that there are flaws in the calculation process of the national policy. We clearly said that this should be recalculated. We also called for a certain percentage of the minimum fare to be amended. What he is saying is that our request is unfair and theirs is fair. They are asking for 10%. According to the national policy, an amendment of 20% should be made. The anomaly hasn't been covered as yet. Gamnu doesn't know anything about it. You have to drive a bus to know about a bus. If the bus fares are increased unnecessarily, people will definitely resort to other modes of transport. The industry will collapse. So I have a responsibility to protect this industry. We will not take a decision apart from this.
While multiple rounds of talks were held since this morning, several factions met again at the National Transport Commission later in the afternoon.
We decided to present a cabinet paper at the cabinet meeting next Tuesday and to get its approval for the 12.5 increase they asked for and to change the minimum fare from 10 to 12 rupees. We gave this assurance to the associations we met today.
At the moment, I'm in the Government Information Department where the Cabinet Media Briefing was held this morning, and the event was attended by the Cabinet spokesperson Minister Dr. Rajitha Sena Ratna and Gayantha Karna Tilaka. Well, the topic of the event, the meeting, was the $1 billion loan that was approved by China for the Central Expressway. Well, during the media briefing, a journalist raised question of the former central bank governor Arjuna Mahendran as well. Well, this is what they had to say.
We hope you would answer this question without evading it as usual. Why have you not been able to bring back Arjuna Mahendran?
We have not brought back Arjuna Mahendran or Udayanga Weeratunga.
You want to bring back Arjuna Mahendran and Udayanga Weeratunga?
Yes, we will bring them back. We cannot simply carry them over here. There were such groups in the past and we don't have those services. If we did have the service, we can carry them over here.
Anuruddha Polgampala was arrested and Dilum Amunugama was summoned to the TID.
They are in Sri Lanka.
Why can't you enforce the law?
You speak of the international law. We have enforced the law over here.
Is your plan to allow Mahendran to remain a fugitive for the next year and a half?
Your questions are only based on Arjuna Mahendran. You are not speaking of the other rogues.
We are speaking about the rogues. We are raising that question today as well. This is not only about Arjuna Mahendran. You said the Dubai police arrested Udayanga Weeratunga and a diplomatic process will be launched to extradite him. Why has that not happened?
Everything is in place. He has put forward an appeal against the red notice. We have been asked to make a statement as to whether there is any political need to arrest these people.
Has that report been provided?
I cannot say for certain, but I think it might have been sent.
We reported as if they would be brought to the country tomorrow. We reported what you told us. In this present situation, do you have any faith they would be brought back to the country at least this year? A $1 billion loan has been taken for the Central Expressway.
It was decided by Cabinet a long time ago. The funds were passed recently. It's a soft loan and the interest will be less than 2%.
How will those who lose houses be compensated? Will the state make payments via the loan?
That will be done with state funds.
You said in the past, development projects cannot be launched because of the loans taken by the previous government and because of the White Elephant projects.
Most of those loans were commercial loans. Back then, the World Bank, the IMF and the ADB did not provide aid. The World Bank has given us $2.5 billion. Last week, the ADB promised to provide another $1 billion.
However, even an unborn child in this country is in debt of 350,000 rupees.
Is there a country that does not obtain loans? Even the US has taken loans. They are in debt of $3 trillion to China.
You said only soft loans will be taken. But the third phase of the Central Expressway is done via a commercial loan.
LIBOR plus is usually at 2%.
What you say is contradicting. The third phase, which is the Galagedra section, will be done with money taken from the Tokyo Exim Bank, and that is a large amount.
Which bank? Soft loan and commercial rate
None of those large loans are commercial loans. All are soft loans. All were discussed with the government and there was a government participation in that.
It was decided to obtain $1 billion or 153 billion Sri Lankan rupees from the Bank of Tokyo Mitsubishi UFJ for the construction of the third phase of the Central Expressway. Apart from the interest, there is an additional insurance fee of 10.07%, an arrangement fee of 1.1% and an annual fee of 0.25%. What is the concessionary base that will be used to repay such an amount?
Take a look at the big tower that was constructed, the Lotus Tower. We have to ask what benefits this will bring to the people of the country. There are matters of similar nature happening. We saw on your news bulletin yesterday about the Central Expressway. We have to raise the question as to what is more important, constructing the expressway or whether providing water to the people who are thirsty and who are cultivating. They are deceiving the people and carrying out these projects for their own benefit or because of their own ego. If two things are carried out in the proper manner, if the expenses are carried out in the proper way, and if the income is earned correctly, there is no need for an increase in taxes. There can be a reduction.
ඒ දෙක හරියට කෙරුවොතින් බදු වැඩි කිරීමක් අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ නැහැ බදු අඩු කිරීමක් කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා මම නම් හිතනවා.
The Government Medical Officers Association has decided to launch a one-day token strike tomorrow against the recently signed Sri Lanka-Singapore Free Trade Agreement.
There is strong opposition against this after it was signed. Minister Malik Samaravikrama and Mrs. Chandani Vijayawardena and the group of advisors claim the next round of discussions will take place on the 23rd of May to end ETCA. When we take a look at the facts, it is evident we cannot remain silent anymore over this matter. Therefore, the one-day island-wide strike action by the Government Medical Officers Association will commence at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Measures are in place to ensure emergency services continue without any disturbance. We are waiting for the response of the President on this matter. We hope he will issue a pledge stating this agreement will not come into effect in the absence of a national policy. We will keep monitoring the situation.
The President, tabling a memorandum at the meeting of the Cabinet of Ministers on the 8th of January 2018, states the Sri Lanka-Singapore Free Trade Agreement need to be drafted and prepared as per the national trade policy to which the Cabinet agreed in July 2017. 1 month after the President issued this letter, that is on the 4th of February, the President of the National Chamber of Commerce, Sujiva Samaraweera, in an interview to a newspaper had said Sri Lanka need to expedite the process to prepare a national trade policy. However, when one looks back at the cabinet decisions for the month of July 2017, it is clear no such decision was taken by the Cabinet of Ministers.
Does the government have a parliament-approved national trade policy?
There is no such policy. There are many other national policies that need to be prepared.
In January 2018, the President informs Cabinet that this agreement needs to be prepared as per the national trade policy agreed to by the Cabinet in June or July 2017. He means the Sri Lanka-Singapore Free Trade Agreement. You say no such policy was approved by Cabinet. Has someone misled the President?
It means by June or July 2018. The draft is being prepared. We have not reached June or July.
You just told me no such thing was presented.
I am speaking of the present situation.
If it is not present now, it did not exist in January.
In January, it was told it will be moved in June.
No, it was June 2017. You are now telling me there is no such thing. Are you correct? Or has the President been misled?
I do not think the President was speaking about the national policy. There are certain accepted trade policies in the country and agreements will be reached with India and Singapore accordingly.
The letter does not speak of such a thing.
Different people see letters in different ways.
Is it the same for the President?
Now, Newsfirst attempts to contact Minister Malik Samaravikrama or a responsible officer at his ministry to comment on the matter proved futile.
In more local news, former parliamentarian Dhammika Palitha was remanded until the 18th of this month. The order was issued when the case was taken up before Fort Magistrate Lanka today. Anuruddha Polgampola, who is a suspect in the case pertaining to the misappropriation of over 8.9 million rupees, where a cheque was issued to obtain gravel for the Uttru Vasantaya road construction project, was ordered to appear in court. However, due to his failure to heed court orders, the Criminal Investigations Department arrested Polgampola last night and produced him in court today, according to a warrant issued on the suspect by the Kilinochchi Magistrates Court on the 4th of this month. Fort Magistrate Lanka Jayaratna also ordered the Colombo Remand Prison to produce the suspect to the Kilinochchi Magistrates Court on the 18th of this month.
Who will the joint opposition field as its candidate for the next presidential election? Journalists raised this question at several events today.
නෑ එහෙම රටක ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකයා තීරණය වෙන්නේ ජනාධිපති වර්ණය ප්‍රකාශ වෙලා ඉස්සෙල්ලා සතියනේ ඒ කියන්නේ ලංකාවේ සම්ප්‍රදාය සතියකට කලින් තීරණය වෙන ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකයා දැන් ඉඳන් යෝජනා කරන්නේ කවුද එහෙම මොකද්ද තියෙන අවශ්‍යතාවය අපේ නම් කිසිම මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුව ඇතුළේ අපි മന്ത്രിවරු විහිළුවට කතා කරනවා අපි අර විහිළු කරන වෙලාවට වෙන විහිළු කරන්නේ.
The Colombo Grand Mosque has announced that fasting for the holy month of Ramadan will begin from Friday, the 18th of this month.
Now, fasting held from sunrise to sunset during Ramadan is one of the 5 fundamental religious duties of Islam.
It is a time of self-examination and increased religious devotion. The rural communities face numerous issues for which the solutions are yet to be provided. This is the voice of the village.
Voice of the village. News from across the nation, reported by Newsfirst's regional correspondents.
These locals staged a demonstration at the Ambevilla junction, obstructing the Nuwara area Ambevilla main road today, as they have not been given solutions to the issue of buffaloes destroying their crops. They claim, though the authorities were informed of the issue for many months, they have fallen onto deaf ears. Villagers of Ambevilla, Pattipola, Nipilimana and Kandeala took part in the demonstration. Locals say despite the fact a decision was taken at the Nuwara Area District Coordinating Committee for measures to transport the buffaloes to the Ambalangoda area, the move was stopped by Deputy Minister Palitha Tevara Peruma.
Crops have been destroyed. The Deputy Minister stopped transporting the buffaloes.
We had to pawn our jewellery. We had obtained many loans. Fix the issue created by the Deputy Minister.
On the 14th of this month, Deputy Minister of Wildlife Palitha Tevara Peruma, who was in Ambevilla Nuwara area, had seen 11 buffaloes tied up in the Kandeala Reserve at the 7th mile post. Thereafter, the Deputy Minister summoned the Assistant Divisional Secretary of Nuwara area and wildlife officials there for questioning.
It's been a week since these buffaloes have been tied. They were apparently tied last Sunday. They haven't eaten anything to date. This is animal cruelty. These animals have been tied by a bunch of well-trained thieves.
Thereafter, the Deputy Minister released the buffaloes and prevented them from being transported.
Many areas in the country face a difficulty in accessing clean drinking water. Tonight, we bring you a report of one such area from the northern province. Newsfirst Tarusha Kumarasinghe reports.
North Province, Jaffna District. Jaffna consists of 7 islands that are inhabited. Newsfirst paid a visit to Analaitheevu, an island in the Jaffna District today, to inquire into the hardships of the islanders. After a journey exceeding 20 kilometers from the Jaffna town, the Newsfirst team made it to the Karamban pier to start their ferry ride to Analaitheevu.
As you can see, we are on a boat en route to Analaitheevu Islands. Now we're going to go there and we're going to check what the problems the residents of Analaitheevu Island are facing, and we're going to delve deep into those matters, and we're going to find steps to resolve those matters. And so why don't you tag along with us to go to Analaitheevu Islands?
After a long, tiresome ride, our team finally arrived to the island. Due to the lack of an efficient mode of transport in the island, the team was severely inconvenienced. Analaitivu has two Grama Niladhari divisions, Analaitivu North and Analaitivu South. 251 families reside in the northern section of Analaitivu and the total population stands at 871. The main livelihood is fishing. The southern part of Analaitivu is home to 264 families and 949 people. Inaccess to clean drinking water is one of the main issues plaguing the islanders. When our team delved into the matter, we found out that although a sub-office of the Kites municipality provides water to the island, the salinity of the water is high and therefore unsuitable for consumption. The recently increased fuel prices has had a major impact on the fishermen in the island. There are 160 fishing families resided in the island and they say that it is difficult to engage in their profession due to the lack of a breakwater. They point out that due to this issue, some of their boats have been damaged. The island of Analaitivu is a significant location and a beautiful creation of nature that is sure to enamor anyone. We will be heading to the island of Elevaitivu tomorrow to bring the issues of another island community to the spotlight.
The audit report of Sri Lanka cricket for the year 2017 was handed over to Sports Minister Faisal Mustafa today.
The audit report was handed over by President of Sri Lanka Cricket, Tilanga Somatipala, at the Ministry of Sports this evening. We are publishing our audit report. 2017 was the year in the history of Sri Lanka cricket where the highest income was reported. The amount is more than 6 billion rupees. In the history of Sri Lanka, no institute has been able to achieve such a progress in the sports sector. There is an excess saving of close to 2.2 billion rupees up to the 31st of December. There were times there wasn't enough income to pay salaries and had to borrow money from banks. We were tactful in trying to increase our income by decreasing the expenses and wastage and secure our income by following proper financial administration and financial discipline. My stance is that all of us should set aside our personal grudges and move forward together. Therefore, as the Minister of Sports, I request that all of us work together and dedicate ourselves towards uplifting the sports sector of the country by forgetting the problems we have among each other.
The British Rugby club, who are on a tour in Sri Lanka for several friendly matches, left the island this morning. It has now come to light that Thomas Batty, who passed away yesterday, died due to an overdose of a narcotic substance.
The British Rugby club visiting Sri Lanka arrived in the country last week and took part in a friendly rugby encounter on the 12th in Colombo and thereafter visited a nightclub in Kolpiti that night. CCTV footage shows the team members entering the nightclub around 12:03 in the morning together with a three-wheeler driver. They had left the premises around 1:23 in the morning. However, police records state they only returned to the hotel at 4 in the morning. Two players were rushed to hospital around 10 in the morning on Sunday as they suffered from breathing difficulties, and 26-year-old Howell Thomas Andrew passed away around 12 noon. The judicial post-mortem examination suspects the death may have been the result of an overdose of a narcotic substance. 27-year-old Beth Thomas Reed passed away last afternoon, and the judicial post-mortem examination report suspects this death too was caused by an overdose of a narcotic substance.
Well, that's a wrap from all of us here at the News First English News Desk. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
And I am Shahin Jurampati. Good night and take care.